So you want a qualitative difference in the caliber of representation
I strongly
as
believe
well?
I'm fighting for a quota system.
Right.
Through a quota system,
Right.
to have a free and fair, and people who would really be committed to work towards a better.
And in your activism towards this goal, you see progress?
Well, yes, because I'm in the working committee of the United National Party, and we have, we are fighting for, in the working committee itself, we have almost 10% of females representing the working committee, and we are fighting to make the changes. And I must say, all parties, women in all parties, all the parties, including the SLFP and some of the other minority parties, are very strongly of this view that they need to, make the change. But when it goes to Parliament, that's where the question comes, whether it would get approved or not. So, but we will fight, and I think we need to fight because to see a just and a better society, because I am saddened by the brain drain. We have a free education system, we have a very good primary health care system in this country. They reap the benefits of the free education. First opportunity that is given, they all just flee the country.
Would you blame them?
I don't blame them. I blame us parents. I'll tell you why. This is why I said, directly or indirectly, politics determines how well or how badly we live, in a developing country, in a developing society. You take Malaysia, I was High Commissioner there for a very short while. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, he had a 2020 vision.
He also had many other visions which are not as
well, hang on a second. Yeah. Today, whatever, I mean, he has basically, I would say, achieved part of his dream and whatever. Today, Malaysia is a fast-growing, developing country.
With simmering conflict underneath. Is that where you want Sri Lanka to go to?
Yes, that's after he left. No, hang on a second. We haven't even got there. So listen, I wish we were like Malaysia and, then we have all these other, whatever. What I'm saying is, when Mahathir had this 2020 vision, when he started off, he had a think tank. And his think tank and the people who made a difference in Malaysia, I'm proud to say this, they may not want to be identified as Sri Lankans. Take the man who built the Twin Towers, the tallest towers until recently of the world. The West Port, the largest port in this region next to the Singapore port that gave the Singapore port a run for its money. Two people, they're not the only two people, there are many other people in the IT sector. The biggest names in Malaysia are Malaysians of Sri Lankan origin. Similarly, all over the world, in Singapore, in the United States, in England.
I'm sorry
so the brain drain.
Sure, I'm going to interject you here, but something that you said earlier, which is that you run the risk of being killed if you were to stay here and articulate some of the opinions that you and others in civil society have been articulating for better governance, for stronger human rights, for more democratic accountability, transparency, lower levels of corruption, and the list is endless. But if you run the risk of being killed here, why should you stay on? And that brings us back to the fundamental question: how are you going to address that? I mean, where does one start? It's a vicious
Sanjana,
circle.
you're not letting me finish my...
I'm not getting a sense of where you...
I'm just trying to get to the point where I was. Okay, the brain drain has made me feel so sad that I don't want my 3 children who would reap the benefit, who went through their primary education here, to have right now been educated overseas, and then tell me, Mom, I don't have a platform in Sri Lanka to come back and work, so therefore I'm going to remain in whichever country that they're in. As a mother, I don't want to raise kids and at a very young age for them to leave this country and say that the environment is not conducive enough for me to come back and serve my nation, or to contribute towards the development of my nation, or to contribute towards the development of myself. So we mothers, we parents, at the moment, this is the mindset we have. This is what I want to change. We always feel that, putting our children into a good national so-called, premier school is going to give the child a better education, and then, getting them into uni, which is only a 2% that gets into university, and, giving them a degree is going to give them basically a better lifestyle. It doesn't. We, at the same time, whilst we are fighting for the education and, basically pushing our children and driving them to get their degree and just harping about only education, there are finer things in life as well that they forget about. Parents also have a responsibility to make this country, a better country, or to create the right environment that is conducive enough for these children with that education to help the development of this nation and to develop themselves as well. So that is what I'm fighting for as a mother. Even if I have to lay down my life, I think I've done my part. And I think every right-thinking citizen should look beyond.
Who's a parent?
Who's a parent.
Right.
You don't have to be a parent.
Right.
If you're a patriot,
right.
if you love your country, if you're not born Sri Lankan by accident, you know, you're born here, you reap the benefits of free education, whatever, and then just at a drop of a hat, if you just pack your bags and say, okay, I have a better life, greener pastures overseas.
But Rosy, the popular fiction today is that if you're a patriot, you would support the eradication of terrorism. That goes on and then continues that if you do not support the eradication of the LTT, you're not a patriot. You're a pariah.
Who says that you don't want to eradicate terrorism?
How would you do it?
Well, you know, there are different means and ways in how you can eradicate terrorism.
And parents need to teach their children that?
Believe me, how did we bring...
Parents need to teach their children that there is more than one way? Is that important?
Well, it's not a matter of parents trying to teach the children there's more than one way. If you teach children the right values and to respect humanity, they, once they, you know, reap the benefits of education, they will have a mind, or they will have that knowledge, that divine wisdom to do what is right. You know, but I think we need to first start and do what is right. And if Mr. Pillian and Mr. Karuna Aman can lay down their arms, I do not know whether they have laid down their arms yet. You know, I just watched the government ban the LTT, and one of the reasons to why they said they banned the LTT was because of child soldiers. But then a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Pillian committed to one of the human rights heads of the human rights, whatever, that he would lay off his child soldiers. What does that say?
Well, on that note, and I'm sure the audience will have many responses to that question, but also on your note of optimism that parents should and must take, and as society writ large must take a responsibility.
It's not just parents. I think society at large has to be more responsible and think beyond what they are doing and living in their own little cocoon, you know, thinking.
Thank you very much. On that note, we really have to end the conversation. Thank you very much for joining us today, Rosy.
Pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you.